Hey, how's it going everyone? It's Gavin from Balls to You. This video is going to be about the reptile show, which is happening at Doncaster Racecourse this weekend, okay, which is the 18th, and obviously it's held there by the IHS. A couple of things to go through first. Obviously I'll put all the details in the description below to this video, but basically what it's going to be is it's a one-day event. Obviously probably there are a few little reptile shows in and around the UK, but this is probably like one of the main ones that everyone attends. And this year it's rammed. Okay. Normally I'm on the ground floor as you walk in, but this year, this show, I'm actually on the second floor. It's absolutely going to be rammed. I didn't even know they had a second floor, but they've got a second floor as well. So that's not your first floor, that's the second floor, guys. Okay, so get yourselves on up there. Obviously those who are members can get in that little bit earlier. Okay, the doors will open at 10:15 and it will be £2.50 for the admission for your members. Now the non-members or the associates, the door's going to open to you guys at 10:45. Okay, so those members will have half an hour of exclusivity to go around the show and grab some bargains. So and for those who are non-members or associates, it's going to be £5 entry. Okay, my advice would be get yourself on the IHS website and get yourself signed up to be a member. Get in there half an hour earlier, because that half an hour earlier you may be able to pick up yourself, some nice little bargains. Now, in saying that, there's going to be a lot of hobbyist breeders and obviously breeders and shops, loads of displays and all that sort of stuff, which are going to be there. For those who have never been before, it just blows your mind, so you'll be running around looking at all sorts, but it's fantastic. Take your time. There is a canteen upstairs where you can go and chill and have a bit of a drink, and there's a bar downstairs where you can have a bit of a little tipple. Okay, this part is going to be about for those people who don't really know what they're looking for in regards to their animal that they're going to buy. Okay, when you go to a table and you're going to look at an animal, you should see on the table some hand gel, some alcohol hand gel. Please guys, make sure you use this gel. Okay, and I'm going to go into these reasons very shortly. Okay, so I want you to make sure you use the hand gel. Only handle animals that you're really interested in buying. Okay, and again, I'm going to go into this in a short while. There's going to be a lot of great and fantastic breeders there. Okay, whether they do it for a living or whether it's just a hobby or what have you, but there's going to be some fantastic stuff there, some fantastic breeders. Obviously it's not just ball pythons, there's spiders, there's milk snakes, there's the boas, there's all sorts. Okay, retics, it's fantastic. There's a lot of reptile shops, as in accessories for reptiles, which are going to be there as well, which is fantastic. So yeah, I think last show there was people selling frozen food there, obviously for your snakes and stuff, so it's always good to pick up some bargains. There's guys selling tubs, which are the really useful tubs. There's people who are selling the racks in the UK, they're also going to be there. So there's just tons and tons and tons of things to do. Now, going into using the hand gel and only handling animals if you're really interested or really considering buying, the reason for this is, unfortunately guys, there are people out there who don't care. Okay, they will bring animals to the show with problems, and it's the same across the world. I've spoke to people in the States. There are people on the committee of the IHS, stewards, which are going around checking animals. They have a vet on site, and they will go around checking animals. But there are people there who basically will try and sell you their crap, if you like. Okay, and I know that sounds horrible, and I don't mean to disrespect anyone, but ultimately, for those who are going to sell crap, okay, just be warned, because I'm going to warn people, and I'm going to tell people what to look out for. Because as far as I'm concerned, people like that shouldn't be in the hobby. if you don't care for your animals and you don't look after your animals, and then you're bringing stuff along which hasn't had a feed. So, and it has happened, guys, where snakes have come out the egg and they've basically put them on the table. The IHS will regulate as much as they can, okay? They will try and stamp out the bad side, you know, the animals which are neglected, the animals which, you know, don't look very well, that they're not kept right and all that sort of stuff. They will do their best, but obviously, guys, there are ones that slip through the net. Now, one of the biggest problems I've seen at reptile shows in general is snakes on the table and mites. Okay, mites isn't really a problem if you've got one snake with mites. If you've got a big collection and all of a sudden everything's got mites, guess what? It becomes a headache. Okay, so be very mindful whatever you're picking up. You know, look with your eyes. You know, and you know, look at its movement, see what it's doing. Look, especially if it's an albino or a white snake, you'll be able to see them mites. Okay, don't handle anything that you don't need to. And that's not saying that that snake that you're looking at is going to have mites, but you may have gone to another table where someone's really not that bothered that their snakes have got mites. You've picked up the snake to look at it. You've gone from that table to another table where that guy or that person hasn't got mites in their collection, and you're going to handle their snake, and guess what? You've just transferred mites. Okay? And not only that, guys, if you do see anyone with any animals on the table that have got mites or any illness or it doesn't look right, please report it to the stewards. I can't stress enough that this hobby has had its fair amount of shit, okay, and I'm sorry for swearing, but it has, and it's about time it stopped. For those who are in it for the money, get out. For those who are in it for the passion, just stay in, okay? If you see anything that you don't like and you think that it's not right, report it to the stewards. They'll get the vet involved and they'll see whether or not it's deemed fit enough for sale. Okay? And again, for those breeders who are going to take animals who think that they can go and fob animals off onto people, then don't. Okay? I've had far too many emails, far too many text messages with people saying that they've brought a snake from the show or a show and it's died, or it's got mites, or you know, it's got a problem. This comes down to you as a breeder first and foremost. But for those who are buying, you've got to bear in mind, not every one of them breeders are straightforward and what they say on the tin. So there's a few things I'd like you to consider when you're buying or purchasing an animal, whether it be at a show, a shop, a breeders, wherever, okay? And a few things you need to be asking again. What was the breeding? This is something I would ask, okay? So if they're selling, let's say a het, okay? If they're selling a het, then you'd want to know what was the breeding, what was the pairing. Was it a visual to a normal, for example? So obviously everything in that clutch is going to be 100% het. Or was it a het to a het, which means that's a possible het. Not 100% het, that's a possible het. I went around the show earlier on in the year and I've seen a few things that I liked, and I asked the breeder behind the table, what's this? It was a spark, it was being sold as a spark. And basically I asked the person behind the table, what was the breeding? And they said a puma to a normal, I think it was. And I asked them, what's the difference between a spark and a yellow belly? Because he had yellow bellies on the table as well, and to be honest with you, I couldn't see a difference. Now bear in mind, guys, I haven't seen a spark in real life, okay? So not only was I curious, but I wanted to test the breeder on his knowledge on what he was selling. So for example, if I'm selling you an animal, I'm going to tell you the difference between this and this, okay? This gentleman couldn't tell me the difference. He was sort of going around trying to sort of get round the question, but he wasn't answering it, okay? So I'd ask him, what's the difference between a yellow belly and a spark? and he really couldn't tell me. And when I said to him, hey, you know, are you sure this is a spark? He said, yes, the breeder told me. Well, hang on, I thought you were the breeder. Yeah, I am the breeder, but when I asked my breeder, who I got the puma off, what this was, he said it was a spark. Okay, see the problem, okay? Now, I'm not saying that guy was wrong. I'm not saying that the information he was getting across to you was wrong. What I'm trying to say is, if he's not sure, and you're potentially buying an animal which you haven't got or haven't never seen, or you're not 100% certain, how can you have confidence in what you're buying? Okay, so think about that. If they can't answer the questions, a simple question like, what was the pairing? How did you make it? What else did you have in the clutch? What's the difference between X and Y? And, you know, it sort of raises a bit of doubt and a bit of, what's the word, a bit of, unsurety, a bit of, and I'm sorry guys, but if I sense anything like that, whenever I'm buying anything, I just say thanks but no thanks, okay? You need to be mindful about what you're buying, because at the end of the day, it is a case of almost like sold as seen, if you like, which sounds bad, I know, but it is. I'm not saying that breeder, okay, will give you a warranty with that snake, or it's going to be a case of, if you take that snake off that table and you're walking around that show for 6 hours and you're holding that snake and that snake's got no heat, you get that home and it's contracted an RI or it's not quite well, then really guys, you've got to ask yourself, was it like that in the beginning? The chances are no. Have I made it that way? Possibilities, yes. I had someone who brought a snake, not off me, off someone else, carried it around with them all day, phoned me up on the night and said, actually it was the next day, sorry, and said, Gab, this snake that I brought, that I showed you, it's not well. Called in the vet, sure enough it had an RI. Okay, now again, the vet couldn't say whether it was there when he brought it, but obviously that animal being out in the cold isn't really, it's not going to help it. Okay, so you need to be mindful what you're buying, when you're buying it. Have you got somewhere to keep it, like in your car, so you can keep it warm and keep it out of the way? Again, be mindful about what you're handling, because some people may bring snakes to the show to sell for other people, not realising that that snake has got mites. So I'm not saying go out there and search out the people who have got ill snakes and all that sort of stuff. I'm just saying be mindful, okay? Be mindful of what you're buying, and at the end of the day, this is for you and your collection, okay? This is probably for your breeding team. So you really want to buy with your eyes, not with the pound sign, if you like. So if you see a snake over here and it's £40 and you see a snake over there and it's £20, well, for me, I'd want to see, well, why is the £20 difference? Why? Is it because this one's not a good example? Which is fair enough, At the end of the day, if you've got a great example, I'd expect it to be more money. Or is it because this one's a lot more money because this person doesn't really want to sell it and he wants to keep it, so he's just raised the price a little bit? You're going to have, for those who have never been before, you're going to be blown away. And it's going to be a case of, sometimes it can be a case of panic buying, okay, where you just go around grabbing stuff because it's a bargain. Oh, that's a tenner, that's 20 quid, that's 40 quid, that's 50 quid. And before you know it, you've got loads of snakes. You get home and you go, what am I going to do with all these snakes? Okay? If you go and look at a snake and you're and ahhing, okay, and you walk away, you've got to expect it not to be there when you come back, okay? If you want something and it's what you want, it's fitting your breeding plans, and it's the right price or a little bit more than what you wanted to pay, okay, grab it there and then, because pretty much if you don't, someone else will. The other thing is as well, if you do walk away from something and you come back and it's not there, well, it wasn't meant to be, okay? So if you're really sure about something and you pick it up and you think, yeah, this is for me, fantastic, great, purchase it, Okay, if you're just looking, try not to handle the animals, just because I'm not saying it. All the breeders are bringing stuff with loads of mites. I'm not saying that. Okay, what I'm saying is, you've got to think that some people may have contracted mites from someone else, and you're going to go around and basically spread that across other people's collection. So, and again, for those people who don't sell animals, they will be taking them home. So anything they don't sell, obviously they'll be taking home. So the last thing you want is to accidentally give someone mites because a knob jockey down the way wasn't bothered, and he let you, yeah, I'll handle your snake. You're handling the snake, oh yeah, this is great. You look, and all of a sudden you've got tiny little black dots, and you're going, oh crap. And you give it back. Well, they could be on your clothes, they could be anywhere. I don't want to make you itch, and everyone's probably doing this now and itching and stuff like that, but trust me guys, I've seen it. Don't do it. Don't handle the snake unless you're really certain. Ask the breeder questions, speak to them, get a, see if you'd like them. There's loads of good breeders there. Okay, Bryn's balls, joking apart. Bryn's awesome. I've brought stuff off him before. He's normally in the downstairs, in the ground floor. He's a great guy. If you want to get over there and go and say hello, just tell him Gavin sent you. And there's quite a few out there, okay, which are going to be really decent breeders and will give you a good customer service. Just be mindful of what you're getting. Don't go crazy. Well, it's entirely up to you, but just be mindful of what you're getting. Look at what you're buying and just enjoy yourself. It's a fun day. It's awesome. You'll see animals you wouldn't normally see. I mean, I love looking at, they've got loads of different tortoises and turtles and stuff like that. They have loads of different types of lizards as well, which is fantastic. Geckos, bearded dragons, all sorts. Okay, African giant snails, they're fantastic. They're absolutely amazing. So there's absolutely loads for everyone to do. Bring the family, take the missus, take the kids, drag them along. The kids will go mad. They'll love it. Okay, but just be mindful of what you're doing, what you're buying, and again, ask them important questions. Just because it's cheap for a reason. I'll tell you a story very quickly. A guy brought a pied. A friend of a friend brought a pied, and he took it home, and it was dirt cheap. I mean, I was kicking myself. I was like, man, how come that was that cheap? It's crazy, stupid money. And he got it back home, and sure enough, he didn't practice quarantine, and guess what? It had mites. Okay, for the show, they cleaned them off or whatever, and he got mites, and he got it into his collection. It's not a major problem, but it's a headache. Okay, it's a headache that you don't need. So again, guys, I'll put all the information for the show down below. Okay, again, if I was you, I'd get over to the IHS website and be a member. It runs from January to December, the membership does, so obviously you're a little bit late in the year, but maybe next year you can start from January, and it gives you access to all the other shows through the year. Okay, and again, just enjoy yourself. For those who are coming down and you watch my channel and you support me, it'll really be awesome for you guys to come and say hello, introduce yourself. I will be on the second floor. Okay, so as you walk in through the doors, the main doors, you've got the bollards that you'll walk through and pay for entry. To the left, you've got some escalators. Okay, we'll be at the top of them escalators on the second floor. If you don't go up them escalators and you walk through to the main hall, obviously everything's there. There are some more escalators in there and lifts where you can actually go up. Okay, guys, so if you are coming down and you are in the UK and you do support me, please come along, say hello. I'd like to say thank you for your support. I'd like to meet you all and at least put a face to the name, let's say. Okay, guys, so have fun on Sunday. Be good. Don't go spending all your money. If you do spend it on my table, I'm only joking. Don't go spending all your money. Just have a great time. There's loads to do, and hopefully I'll see you all there. Okay, everyone, take care, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Take care.